Hi, Capelet Stories. Hope you guys are good. Sorry, as again me. And tonight we're gonna talk a bit, or we're gonna continue with last night's discussion. I've got a few people in the studio. I won't be doing the talking. They will be talking to us and telling us their stories. It's a very interesting story. You guys want to listen to this. For you guys that said last night that this topic is boring, I want you to listen to the victims of people that has been abused, bullied, and so on, you know, in religious institutions. And the people are on the chat and they're going to chat with us. I want you guys to ask questions. I want you guys to be part of this conversation. The reason for this conversation is that we bring an awareness so people can see what's really happening. But this is something you want to hear, how people have been abused, how people has been manipulated, and they're going to talk for themselves. I'm not going to tell this story. So I just want to bring them on quickly. Good evenings, everybody. Good evenings. Good evenings. Good evenings. Welcome. Welcome. Um, awesome, awesome. Elder George, I'm going to give over to you, and then we start from there. And I want you guys to talk about this and to tell the people what has happened to you because of false prophecies and things, because this is a very important discussion and also a real life story. So, Elder George, over to you, sir.
Uh, Hi, everybody. I'm Elder Jules Joseph. We in the church called Ambassadors for Christ. What's happening? Our story is it's about a church that we have worked in. It was more ministry orientated, meaning that it had more business side than it has a church. So what happened was we were all active involved. I was active involved for 13 years. We were active involved with hard labor and everything. And we sold biscuits. We raised money for the church. We had our own political party at one time. We had a lot of things that we have done, and we were told that it was for the betterment of the people and take the people further. But after 13 years, I haven't seen any fruits of these type of things that was promised, preached to us. I was driving it. I was a part of leadership. I did everything in my power to get the vision through. I was working hard in it, and it did not bear fruits as it was promised. And this is why we are speaking out now, because there is too many hurt. In the reason why I'm speaking out is because I listened to the people's stories. I heard the people's stories. I heard what the people were saying, and I heard their cry, and that made me realize that we have to talk about this. And then we went back to the leadership. We wrote them a letter. We spoke to them, and they haven't come back to us until this day. They just started to come up with court cases and hit us back with courts and all that stuff. But the point is, we have tried to talk about everything. And I myself have called the people together, and I had to apologize to people because I'm honest about this. I've sort of misled the people under the auspices that it's a prophecy that God has given, and God has done. But that's not what really happened. Now our people is here. Some of them has been removed from was put out of the church. There were about 13 of them living there. One time they were just all put out of the church, and some didn't have anywhere to stay. And then my own sister, which was the head baker, was moved out of. After she baked some nice cookies for all thousands and thousands, millions of cookies, she was put in a shack, and that I don't agree with that. I don't. That wasn't the promise. The promise was you're gonna move out of there into a house, your own house. You're gonna own your own house. You're gonna own your own car. We were supposed to be young people was told they're gonna be by the age of 25 millionaires. Some of them were told they're gonna go to the United States, and nothing of that has happened to a lot of them. Only a few people have really benefited from that. And now we are speaking out against this, not because we want to harm anybody, but we want to warn people against these evils because it's out there. We have believed it. We have worked it. I myself, personally, me and my family was one of the first people that has given unto this ministry 100,000 rand and more. So we believe that it's not like we have say that we didn't. We were in it, but after the conversations I had with the leader and spoken, it didn't seem right. When I asked him, he asked me once, what is this people talking about? Why are they going on? And I said, because you say they're going to get houses. They're waiting on their houses. And he said, I never said so. I said, you preached about it. And that's the story of where we are. I have put most of my family into this ministry and make they help them work full time, leave their studies to do things. But I still believe that God will honor us, and that's basically my introduction to the stand. Okay, but I have this young man. His name is Mikael. He have a very interesting story. Can we give over to him then now?
Good evening, good evening, everybody. Hope that everyone is doing well. Well, my story starts by I was probably around 8 years old when I first started living in the church, and I left the church when I was 18, 19. So I'm gonna tell you guys my story. First off, I'm gonna start by saying that I moved in there in at a very young age, and I started working actually at the age of 10, and that wasn't normal to me because I couldn't enjoy my youth, and there's a lot of stuff that I couldn't do. So I was basically forced to work at a very young age, and I think that was very unfair. And I think it was in grade seven when there was a project. It started out in Menenberg, and I was probably around 11. I was doing like hard labor. It was like I felt like a grown man because and just watching all of these grown men, like I felt like, why is this so hard? Like they basically told me, like the leader apostle, like he told us a lot of things, and that made me mature at a very young age. And then in 2013, when I first got to high school, that was like the major switch because there was a lot of stuff happening, and I just got to high school, and then stuff just got more intense, and it was just very crazy. And then we started selling cookies. And then I now had to decide which is a priority because I have high school. I just got to high school and I had to work. So I felt like that was very unfair because I didn't get to experience all the things that I needed to experience as a teenager. And it was just very sad. And then he took me in, and then it's just a lot to think about. And then my mother actually like he taught us that yeah, family doesn't really matter. So if you're in the church, like you made us believe that this is your family and you have to cut off all your family and all of that stuff. And even until today, like he just my mother is still against me, like till this day, like that's the power he has. So yeah, and there's a lot of stuff that really happened, like in my personal experiences, like I wouldn't I'm not gonna say recommend any young person, but I don't want any young person, like any young man, to go through what I went through because yeah, it's really sad to see that the person that gave birth to you actually turns on you one day, and I feel like that was very disrespectful and it's wrong. And he always told me that like there was just a lot going on, and the way he structured things in the organization or whatsoever, like it was just it messed everyone up. And yeah, so that's my story.
Yes.
Now I'm gonna hand over to Nicola.
Hi, good evening all. I'm Nicola Slinger. In the year, I think 2007, my husband is a pastor and he was a pastor. And he was introduced by Elder George, introduced Apostle Stanford to us, AFC ministries to us. We had our own ministry and we were doing good. But we wanted better for our people and we thought, okay, if we go over to this American person, our people is going to grow quicker and we're going to get more resources and better help and stuff like that. But as time went on, I've realized that this wasn't true, because my husband left his job and he done full-time ministry, meaning he had to make building blocks. They done hard labor. Like this young man said, they were all forced to make building blocks, and we were told that we're going to build our own homes with these blocks. But up until today, nobody built their own houses with these blocks. And then I have two daughters, and then my one daughter was in grade 11, and she was told by the apostle to move into the church without consulting her parents. So myself and my husband, she just came home and said, apostle said I must move into the church. And I felt very bad as a parent because this is my child. And we've raised our child to the best of our ability as parents. Then I went to the man, to the apostle, and I spoke to him and I said to him, then he said to me, but I've got ungodly soul ties with my child, with my children. I need to break the ties that I have with my children. In any case, I stayed on. My daughter went to the church. She lived at the church. We were in the ministry. But my husband wasn't recognized as a pastor. We were just bench warmers and cookie sellers, working the vision. If you work the vision of this man, you were all good. And then my daughter, which was grade 11 that time, moved into the church. She got a skin irritation on her legs and on her body. And they forced my child to do morning peak, to go before school in the morning, to go sell cookies at the robots and go to school from there. And after school, she had to go back to the robots to go sell cookies. That was this young people's lifestyle. Now, me as a mother, I did speak up. I always spoke up. I always went to the man. Then now again, I even sold cookies to spend time with my child because she wasn't allowed to see her family because we were bad influence. Even though we're in the same ministry, she couldn't have a relationship with the parents. She wasn't allowed to have a relationship with the parents. Anyway, so I would, on my off days, I would go sell cookies just to spend time with my child. I even took my annual leave from my work to go on a trip with Elder George to spend time with my child. It wasn't for me about the cookies, but it was to spend time with my child. And these children, they never spoke up. They didn't say what happened in that one-on-one sessions they had with the man. We all had one-on-ones because he never spoke to you in a group or before, in front of other people. So my husband left a few years ago and I didn't want to leave with him. He left AFC. I didn't want to leave with him because I had to stay and fight for my children. When my daughter matriculated, I fought for her to go study. The man told me, your child is not good enough for university. She can't go to university. She must go sell cookies. They made her go take a gap year to go sell cookies. But that whole year, I was on them. I didn't back off because the Lord gave this child to me and I am a mother and I fought for her. I went to Elder George. My kind gaat leer. I went to the apostle. I told him, my child is going to study. I fought for my child. Now, all glory to God. She's a third year student at UWC at this moment, studying. And that is the desire of my heart. Any mother, any parent, we just want the best for our children. What we thought we were doing at going over to AFC was because we wanted better for our people. But clearly, we didn't get better. Yes, we were promised we're going to we bought the church, buy the church with South African rand. Yes, we did buy the church with South African rand. We worked very hard for that building. We also bought the land in Atlantis from the cookie money. Yes, we did buy it with the rand, with the South African rand, not with American dollars. He used to say over the pulpit every time, we're not using American dollars, we're using South African rand. And this colored South African people, we worked hard for that church building in Elsis River. We worked hard for that land in Atlantis. All of the people in the church are old people. In the morning, our seniors, they got up and they went to go bake these. What Sister Shirley that was in charge, but over them, that people baked the cookies, and the young people and the other mothers who also helped in the bakery. And then we would go, the others, and we would go out and sell those cookies because we believed in this vision. We believed this man that things is going to get better. We're going to build our own homes. We're going to have better. We're going to have our own schools. We're going to have this. We're going to have that. Where's all of that? Today, he's living in a luxury home in Bellville, not even worried about the people that work this vision, that is living in shacks today. This is not on. As a colored mother, I say enough is enough. Yes. I was in the apartheid days, I used to fight. And I'm a fighter. I'm still fighting today because I believe we as South Africans, we can stand together and we can do this. We don't need any American to tell us what to do. We had God all our lives. We were serving God, hallelujah. All the time we were serving God. And up until now, we're still serving a living God, carrying us through this epidemic, this COVID virus. God is carrying us through. We believe in God. But we are sidetracked by this man that said he's sent from God. He is the closest person to God you'll know. I knew God all my life. Now I'm taught something else. You need to work the vision. If you don't work the vision, then you're not spiritual. So this is my story. I don't want another child or another young person to fall into this trap. That is why I'm speaking out, because I lost my daughters to this ministry. It's only now that they were put out that I got them back. Thank you so much.
Okay, do we have Auntie Maryam here? Stan, you want to say anything? You're on mute, you mute us.
There we go. I'm going to go to Maryam.
I speak now.
Yeah, you can tell the story. Yes, Maryam, you can unmute yourself. Maryam can unmute. There we go, Maryam. You can speak now, eh?
Oh, should I speak now? Because I had some issues with my.
Yes, it is your time now. Yes,
right
you
now.
can speak now.
Okay, so my name is Maryam. I came to the ministry 2013. At around about that time, we had such challenges in the ministry and so on, and so that is a time that I must now decide. I don't want to do church. I really didn't want to do church anymore. So my daughter at that time already went to AFC with a friend, so she visited there because I wasn't going to church at that time, and so I also didn't want my children to stay at home. So she went to church and she kept on saying, "Mommy, you must come to church." But I really had a problem with this church since then already. I didn't want to go there. And so because she kept inviting me, so the one Sunday I remember going, and okay, then after that I went again, because the one thing I never wanted in my house was church politics. I believe that I don't want more than one church in the house, because on the end of the day we're going to have situations where you feel your church is better than mine, is better than mine. So I ended up going to the church, and then I remember one Wednesday night, we had that where we still had the fasting on a Wednesday, and then we had fellowship afterwards. So Apostle spoke to me, asked me, so I'll start going at work. So I said to him, it's like the normal stuff. We have the situation and that and so on and so forth. And then he told me, this is what I'm going to tell you what to do. This is what I need you to do. I need you to take a step of faith. Around about that time, I also had challenges at work, because I felt like, I can't work here. I need to get something else where I can maybe get more money, because the need is bigger than what I'm earning. And so I then thought to myself, but I hear when they speak, the people that is working for the ministry, it looks like these people are better off than us that is working, or me maybe. So I then thought, okay, maybe so I'm gonna take the step of faith. I took the step of faith. I decided to leave the job, and then I went to go work at the ministry. but my thing is I always wanted to work with people. That is, I've always been my desire to work with people, maybe work with women, or just be interacting and stuff. So that time, myself and Sister Joy was talking a lot. So Sister Joy so told me, the bakery is a place where things is happening now. So really, the ladies is there, and it's just nice. It's a good place to be. And so I thought to myself, okay, fine, then maybe I should maybe work there. Also, he told me I must come give my time and work at the church and all of that. But I wanted to do that. Why? Because I loved working with people. So I went to the bakery, and really when I got there, it was nice. It was good. The fellowship was okay. The relationship, we built good relationship there. It's really we it was good. And so I worked for the thingy. I worked, and they always used to say, we don't have to worry about no nothing, because we're gonna end up earning more than the a normal person and all of that. I think that gave us hope, because we knew, even though we doing this now and we're not getting anything, we knew, or rather we had this hope that in the future we might get something. So that time my daughter was also just finished school, and she was on university social work. She was studying social work her first year. And I remember, ever since she said she wanted to study social work, or she wanted to be a lawyer. And so she was accepted for social work. So she studied and this and that, and she was always an A student. She was always that A student. you know and so I kept encouraging her, you should rather finish your studies, and when you're done you can always do ministry again and all of these things. And then at that time all she wanted was to be in the will of God, and we love God, and I to a certain extent felt like this is the very thing that I think was used or against us, because we love God so much that we always wanted to do what's pleasing to God. And then we would fight. I would say, but you cannot do this, and she would say, no, but da 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 da. And then afterwards she came back. She said to me, she's changing her studies. She's going to study something else, be com or whatever. But she said she wanted to teach. Now I'm asking her, I don't. When was, I mean, I raised you when I can't remember that even one day you said you wanted to be a teacher. But anyway, I understand if you now want to change, I can do nothing. But I was very concerned, because I said to her, you cannot start something that you're not finishing. And oh, she wanted to do teaching, because that was the time when they started speaking about the school. We're gonna have our own school, and things was just happening. The promises, and I think round about that time we needed teachers. We're gonna have our own people that is going to teach and all of that. So she eventually changed, even though I said no. She changed because at that time I wasn't the one in her ear. She couldn't take advice from me, and that was what was happening. So I then at the end of the day decided, fine, it's okay. If she want to be in the will of God, we're all doing it for God. That's the thing, that we're all doing it for God. And I believe that if our motive was right, that on the end of the day, God is going to honor us. And so my son was also at the school, the small one. All of my kids was involved, literally, because I made sure that everyone is involved. My husband at that time, I was still married that time, he is the one that really didn't want to. He was like, I don't like this thing and I don't want this thing. But by him seeing us doing it, he also got that type of faith, and then he also gave a little bit more. And then I remember this one day I got a phone call from someone. I was at the bakery that day, and someone said to me, Maryam, I'm thinking of one of your friends just contacted us. Our lady just gave up, left the job, and we have a vacant post here. If you're interested, we would love for you to come for an interview, because she spoke very well of you and all of this. So I said to them, okay, fine, I can only come to her for the interview after 4, because I was thinking at that time the bakery will be done. And then she said, no problem. She said, I'll ask the boss if he's able to wait for you. And then he said, no, it's fine. You can come after 4. He says he'll wait for you. But then I didn't go for the interview. So I remember the next day, I called them. I said in the morning, I'm so sorry, I couldn't make it for the interview because it was raining and it was difficult for me to get there. And I remember her saying, no, it's not a problem. We can reschedule as long as you come for the interview. And that time, I remember mentioning to the leader, I said to him, sir, this is what I got. The people called me, say they want me to give me this job, because he said to me, no, ask your daughter. My daughter happened to stand next to me that time. What does job stand for? Just over were broke. And he said to me, if that people can pay you 5 times more, then you can take that job. And me being the obedient, wanting to be in the will of God, I left that. I let that go. I stayed on, until it was, I'm gonna be honest, we had very, very, very good days. I'm not going to deny that, because the relationships we built, the friendships we built was just beautiful. My turning point came when I was my friend, well, my sister friend, my sister, my mother's sister's daughter, her birthday was there. So we planned a vacation, and I said to him, sir, I'm not gonna be in for a while, because we're going away for a week into the weekend, because we wanting to celebrate. And he told me, you need to value your job. I'm like, but I can't remember having a job, because you said we don't have jobs. If we want a job, we need to go find ourselves a job. So I don't understand. And it was a whole thing. And that's where I decided I couldn't go to family funerals, because I must wait for him to say you can or you cannot go, get the release or don't get the release. And if I don't get the release or you don't get the word, you must just continue doing what you have to do, because we don't want to come across as if negative or being against. And I'm mentioning these things because I spoke to the leader several times. I had conversations with the leader where I spoke to him. I listed out some stuff. I said to him, this and that and that and the other, but unfortunately it's not my vision. So I understand that clearly. God didn't give me the vision. I don't understand the vision. I don't know what's going to happen. So I cannot say what to do. But right now, my also reason why I'm sitting here is when they decided that the people that worked must move out of the church. I remember also having conversation with the leader. I said, sir, this is not a good thing. I said, because these are the people that, remember, these people worked. So how do we tell the people that worked they cannot be there? So it's a bit of a challenge. And he said, okay, there was other issues and there's no money coming in. But still I felt like we cannot do that. It is not okay, and so that was our conversations we're having. So my cry also tonight is, us as mothers, I believe, I also always said, I believe I failed my kids. Why? Because I was supposed to be the one that was supposed to direct them. Now we're sitting here, we're struggling to get even a job, because there was stuff spoken over our lives, which I believe I believe God is going to do what only He can do. If you leave this ministry, you will be the fools. People will ask you, were you really part of this? And today I can truly say that from my own experience, it's been tough. Even to find a job, you apply, you don't get it. I don't know why. I don't understand why. But what I'm trying to say today, I really want to say, I, as a mother, felt to a certain extent that I failed my kids, for allowing them to be part of this. Kayla, my child left her studies. She went full time. She just worked for the ministry for a few years. She's trying to reapply to continue with her studies, but we have given up a lot. And the only thing I would wanted or asked for is at least give the people what they work for, at least allow the people to benefit. And so today it's what it is. We sitting here. I remember I spoke to him. I said to him, sir, I need to go find a job because this is not working for me. And he said, why? I said, I have stuff I need to do at home. I have my roof that's leaking. I have the ceiling. And then he said to me, what is the most important thing now? I remember saying to him, okay, so now I need to fix my ceiling because it's cold in winter. He said to me, fine, we'll get a team out. They'll sort that out for you, because he most now didn't want me to go because he needed me to be there. So they came, they did something, until today it's not finished, So everything was just half done. Everything was always just half done. So yeah, that's my story. There's more, but I'm just gonna leave it there.
Thank you so much, Maryam. I'm just going to go over to Lindsay quickly. Lindsay, can you hear us? Lindsay? Okay, it looks as if we have lost him. But I'm going to give over to Donnie. Everybody's said their story with us now. And I'm going to give over to Donnie just to ask the questions. There's a lot of questions coming in. People want to know, where is this guy? Some, I don't want to read all the comments, but I'm going to give over to Donnie. And Donnie can maybe just, speak with us as we said last time. Donnie,
Yeah.
to you.
Thanks, Dan. Good evening, everybody. Thanks so much for for giving us the opportunity to just be able to understand what's happening. And I mean, I want to set the record straight for those of you that's watching tonight on Facebook or YouTube, is that, Stan and I, when we thought about doing this, we didn't want to just, speak bad of someone. There'll probably be pastors or people in the church that will be saying, well, you guys are just talking bad about, one of the men of God or whatever the case may be. But we really believe that there are things happening in our churches within Cape Town that we have just accepted to be the norm, but it's not the norm, and it's not biblical, and it's not in the Bible, and so we really wanted to, use this platform to make sure that we can not just expose the sin of this man, but also to to shine a light on the issues that's happening, because you might be watching this and you might be recognizing some traits or some things that are similar to your story or to how your pastor behaved, and we want to say that that is wrong. That is absolutely wrong. So I just wanted to get that out of the way. But perhaps I'll come back to you, Elder George, and I want to maybe talk about the money, because a lot of people are asking on the in the comments, what happened to the money? Where did the money go to? The people that were working, how much were they actually paid, versus how much money was actually going into the ministry at the time?
Okay. In terms of the money, I only had a special account that I was managing in the church, which wasn't a lot of money, but most of the money was put into the bigger account, and that was handled by the apostle himself. The people got stipends of 800 rands, 500 rands. Some didn't even get the stipend, and everything that you wanted in this ministry, you had to ask for. You cannot just expect on the end of the month you need to pay bills or whatever. He actually wants you to ask for it, and if you have a problem asking, then it's pride. In other words, then you're prideful because you don't want to ask. So there's, like Sister Maryam was saying, there was sometimes when it was going good, but it was just all intentional according to what I'm seeing, because the bigger thing was to get to the real things that we actually wanted, because the people was working and they were expecting something, and it was just promises.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
there is a lot of accounts in the church that I have. I don't have any information on that. I haven't seen it. I only time I know there was not no money. I was told there was no money. Was near to the end of the month, but the both times. That's the times we went out and go sell cookies and make money.
Mm. So you have people selling cookies, the money comes in, no one knows or sees where the money is going to. We know that there was an account that was created between yourself and the church at the time to kind of make sure that the money goes somewhere and people are paid for certain things. Now I want to talk about the church house that you have, or that the church has. Obviously we know, and perhaps you can give some context to the viewers tonight. At the time when you were asking to be released, and you and your wife decided, listen, we had enough now of this. Your water was cut off at the church, your electricity was cut off at the church. You were basically treated like you were trash. They were basically just saying, listen, if that's what you're gonna do, and we're gonna treat you this way. So let's talk about
Yeah.
the house. Let's talk about the properties that the church has, who has control and who owns those properties, and I'm sure the people will want to know as well who actually worked for those properties. I know that one of the ladies mentioned it, that they were actually working for those properties, but it's now owned by this powerful man that just does and sort of say what he wants to.
Yes, sir. I just want to mention this. For the organization is an NPC was registered, I think, around 2016. The church is here for about 20 years, but we never had any agents. There was no financial statements to the people available. Along there was along many other things that wasn't right, you know. But like everybody is saying, we didn't. That wasn't. We didn't think like that. It was wrong of us not to think about that because there was, you know, we should have asked questions more and should have wanted to know what's happening. And now, when I decided that I want to release, you know, I had to ask this man for a release after 13 years, and then I asked him for an exit strategy. And when I asked him for an exit strategy, I went back to his house. He told me, "Why don't you just leave like everybody else leave? You know, live." And I'm like, "What? I must just live." And then as I was walking out, he told me we all benefited. I said, "How did we all benefited? Look where you live." And this man is living in a 10, 12 bedroom house. There's a jacuzzi, there is a pool, and we've practically have built it on ourselves with hard labor, with the blocks we made. We have built that whole place, the section on, and we was just told, okay, I was and then they wrote me a letter back to tell me that I signed on behalf of the church and I did everything, and they also told me that you know, I was just a volunteer for 13 years, and I was like, really? And then I texted back and forth with him and I asked him, "You think it's unreasonable for me to ask this?" And you
Mm,
know, he just said he didn't really. He just, you know, like they normally do. They don't answer questions. They just reflect it back. You know. So
mm,
I was really hurt by that because my point was this: if I was a casual, what about the people that's there? What's going to
mm,
happen to them that's there, that's following this man, believing this thing? If I was treated like that and I work hard in this ministry, what about the people that's in the ministry right now? What is about the people that's coming to this ministry? What's going to happen to them if you
mm,
can't even do right to a simple person that has actually given their lives to this cause?
mm,
And then they cut my water. They claim it was a city, but we know it's them. We went for a spoliation order, and they granted us that. And then they was forced to put it on by a court order. So they put the water back on. They put the electricity back on, and had to do everything that we asked them to do. So if they could treat me like that, sir, I'm telling people that still in this ministry, there's no chance for you because that
mm,
this is not how you treat a human being. My children was in the school. They created a school which was not
mm,
registered, legally registered, and they used my
mm,
three children as, you know, guinea pigs to grow the school. And you know, we probably was like, what do you say, naive, because we said,
mm,
okay, let's just go for it and do it, you know. And he was saying, as my daughter grow old, we can just add it next year. The man had a
mm.
conversation with me and tell me if I will ever be appreciative for him, I will be appreciative for him for the school. He
Yeah.
closed the school down on us and just, you know, said, "I don't have a fight in this." My wife was speaking
Mm,
back with him and he said, "I don't have a fight in this, a dog in this fight." You know, so
mm,
I'm like, wow, this is now changing everything around. So now the children is now concerned. And my daughter asked me, because we didn't tell them what's really happening. She asked me,
mm.
"Daddy, who's doing this to us?" Or she actually
Yeah.
spoke to the mother, "Who's doing this to us?" And the mother said, "Is the apostles." He said, "How can it be him? He said he loved us." And
Mm,
at that time, the water was cold. They couldn't go to school because we couldn't. The electric was off, so we couldn't even boil water.
mm,
So the children, and we had to flush. We had to teach our two boys how to do, you know, take vat die emmer en gooi emmer in die water. We had to teach them that,
yeah.
and they we had a whole plan of how they do it. And every time somebody comes to visit, they have to explain them this is how it works. Daddy's going to pull the car in, he's going to plug the battery onto the car, and then we're going to have lights. And that was, I mean, I don't hate anybody for anything, but I don't think that was humane to do anything
Yeah,
thing like that to people.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. No, that's I agree with you. I mean, I wanna use your children to segue into another segue which is how he has used the children to kind of go against the word and the will of their parents. And perhaps I want to bring Nicola in here with her experience and her daughter. I mean, can you reflect back on just what how he actually does this? I mean, we know that there are allegations of uh, um, um, him touching the children in a certain way, or kissing them in a certain way, or holding their hands in public. So there's all of these allegations that we have in front of us that is now coming to the light, of this so-called man of God. But there's also allegations of him, working kids against their parents, which I think is such a dangerous thing,
Yes.
simply because in the church, the church, the Bible talks about the role of family, and the Bible places the role of family above church. So it's God, your family, and then the church. So there's no way in any church where a pastor or an apostle can tell you, listen here, you can't go to a funeral, or you can't go and look after your husband or your wife, or you can't listen to your mother because I'm the apostle. That in itself is unbiblical. So maybe chat to us about just how he does this. How does he condition the children to actually eventually, you talk against you, or decide against you as a parent, and say, listen, no matter what your mother say, or no matter what your father say, I'm telling you to do something like this. Come live here at the church, regardless of having to speak with your parents.
Yes, you see, he had one-on-ones with the people. You go into his room and he speak, he have a conversation with you, right? So he make you very good. He told my daughter, she is better than Samantha that is currently living in the house. You supposed to be Samantha's leader. He tell my daughter. He wanted my daughter to go live in his house, but she didn't listen to something he said or was disobedient to him. So she wasn't allowed to go live in the house where Samantha May is currently living in the house with him. So he would speak to our children and have one-on-ones with them. And our children wouldn't listen to us. They will only listen to Apostle. You see the other young lady, Shante David, she have excellent parents and they done a great job with their child. And I would tell Shante every time when I see her, Shante, you don't look like my child. You look like a drug addict. But that child, we didn't know that child was on bread and water. But I used to tell her all the time when I was the driver and I had to take them for cookie selling, I would speak to her, and that child wouldn't like me because I would every time say, Shante, you don't look like my child. You need to rest or do something. But they never spoke to us. They never told us. We were there. Their parents, we were there all the time, going to church on a Sunday. But they would never say what is happening to them. They would never say they on bread and water. We shocked when we heard her on that interview last week that she was on bread and water, and stuff like that. They wouldn't. The children, the parents was make. We were the wolves. We were made a bad person. He's got much better things in store for them. Even my eldest daughter, he made her so bad. He said she's a whore. He said she's going to bring a lot of children to my house. That he made my daughter so bad when she left the ministry, when she decided she had enough. My child was made out to be a whore. And I'm telling you this for you as a parent to hear this stuff. It's not nice. And we try our best to serve God. We're serving God. We don't, if we do wrong, we all human, we fail, we make mistakes, yes. But what do? We confess. Ons bely en laat staan. That's the verskil. We confess when we do wrong. The only thing we wanted him to do is to confess and he must release our people that is caught up, man. We have a few of our young people there, which I love dearly. Christopher, Samantha, May. There's a few of them that I love. Children that grew up in front of me. That's our children. He's got in his clutches and they can't come out, they can't see. The prayer of my heart, the cry of my heart is our children's eyes must open. He buy them nice cars. He's giving them this and he's giving them that at this moment. I don't know. They don't see. Sometimes material things win over people, you know. But I know the love that we have for them is going to make them free because we're not giving up on our people. We're not fighting for our children. My children is out of there. Thank you, God. But there's a pastor, my daughter that is there. There's Christopher White. There's other children that is there that I want free. I want all our people to be free. Here also see me in apartheid, man. We free. Our minds is free. We're free. We want our people to be free. We had enough of this, man. We don't want any Americans to come over here and to come tell us how to do and how to serve our God. We know how to serve God. We know how to raise our children. Even a drug addict mother wants the best for her child. Even if you're not safe, if you're a drunk mother, whatever, you want the best for your child. That is our fight. Yeah. We want our people to be free from this man.
Yeah. I mean, very passionately said, Nicola, and I can just hear and sense your emotion and raw emotion in what you're saying. And Maryam, I want to come to you. I mean, you spoke about, you know, your job and sort of you getting, you know, providence and trying to provide for your household and yourself, but, you know, also having to listen to this guy that's saying, listen, don't do this, do that. We know Elder George's wife was working for government for, I think, 15 years or something like that. And she was also told, listen, just take your pension and come, it's time for you to do full-time ministry, which is fine if you're going to be paid, you know, the salary that full-time ministry, you know, have to pay you. But if you don't have that, you're going to eventually suffer, and you yourself as a person that has to now provide for your household won't have, you know, the income that you need to cover the expenses. Because we all know if you're living in South Africa, it's a very expensive activity. And so talk to us about how, you know, how that made you feel. I mean, I want to particularly know the trust factor here, because I think it's important for people to understand that you guys didn't do this because you were held, you know, a gun was held against your head, but you did this because you trusted him at that time, you know, and sort of that allowed you to do that. So talk to me about just, you know, how that became much more difficult for you when you eventually walked away from stability and needed to now further trust him, but he was just never there to actually then prove his word on what he had promised you.
It was a challenge. It was a challenge because, listen, I remember at work, I got a salary every end of the month. I got paid. So when I came here, at first it wasn't an issue because I that time understood, okay, fine, we're doing this for God. You know what I'm saying? Ignorance of it. We're talking about this now. But anyway, so that time it was a matter of you doing this. We're doing this for God, and the Here God Himself is going to come through for us, and so on and so forth. But to me, what was really such a challenge is the fact that I believe if you put something in front of someone, like even a child, if a child is starting to walk or the process of starting to walk, if you put something there, you're standing here, the child is standing here, you showing the child, yes, Babiki, here's this thing, come to mommy. The child is going to come, and every time there's going to be that attempt of the child to want to come closer, eventually until the child is there, you know. So I think that was, to me, the thing. That is what was relevant. I was thinking, I want a better life for my kids. I want things to be better for my children because, you know, like I said the other day, I said to myself, this is a matter of cashing in our vulnerability, because remember when I came that time, I was in a mess. I would say I was going through a lot of things personally. I was going through stuff, even with church-wise. So I closed myself down to a lot of things. So to me, this is a matter of you getting me, taking that vulnerability and making me understand this side, it's better here. You know, what I have or what whoever God sent me for you, this side is better. So obviously everybody wants better. I struggled raising my children. I always wanted what's best for them. like Sister Nicola said. So if this is the will of God, if this is a way, if this is going to provide that better, because listen, I came from a time where when I grew up, I didn't have the privileges my kids have. I didn't have most of the stuff they have. So so really what I wanted, what I really wanted, what I heard was the promise that it is going to get better.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah.
so my
Yeah.
sacrifice, really my sacrifice was mostly for my children. It was mostly because I want what's best for them. It was mostly because I felt like it is my responsibility as a parent to make decisions that is not just going to benefit me, but it's also going to benefit my children, not just financially but also emotionally, you know.
Yeah.
So I was working and I was working, and really, like it was said, it was bad because now you're seeing your house is going backwards. You don't have what you thought you would have. You don't get money every month where you can say, I must pay my debt, I must do this. You don't even have electricity. I shared a testimony with Elder one day. I said I came from the church. I worked full time. I remember I baked from a Monday to a Friday, and some Saturdays I went to go sell. I went on cookie trips also sometimes. I came from the church that day not having nothing in my house. I said to Elder, I had nothing. I didn't know what I was going to give my children, who was also at that time working at the church. I said
Mm.
to I said, and I'm thinking to myself, I don't want to ask, because I'm like, what is this that you must ask? If you don't ask, then you are prideful. You're too into yourself, you know, this and that. And if you go hungry or you go without bread, it is your own fault because you must ask. I felt like I'm working. Why must I ask if I'm already working? So I said to Elder that day, I come home in the van on my way home. I got a message, someone sent me money. And I'm thinking, who's this person sending me this money? You know, and that time the person sent me a WhatsApp saying to me that I've sent you a little something, and this is just for you. As someone that is not even attending church with us, this is just to appreciate you for always being there. This is just to say thank you. And that day to me, I felt like, oh, this is an answered prayer. Even things like that, you would give you a hope, because you think, wow, I prayed, and maybe I'm on the right track here because God has answered my prayer. But from that side, it was really always a matter of you having to ask. If you want to do this, you must ask. If you want money, you must ask. Like I'm saying, like I said earlier on, even today, I'm struggling. I'm not going to tell you a mother of a lie. It is not easy to get you, you know, it's just, I don't know how, I don't know, but it's just a struggle. The ceiling they left halfway, it's still halfway. I cannot understand why I cannot get myself to a place of just finishing that. You know what I'm saying? So that promise, man, that promise of hope, and I think to say that Donovan does, that is what gets our people. That is how our people get lured into stuff, because you're vulnerable, you don't see better, you don't think you know better, and you don't think there is better out there. So when someone come and present something like that, you're thinking, whoa, this is my break. And I think to me that was it. I thought this is it for me. You know, the struggle is over, the wait is over, not knowing the struggle is starting, not knowing the struggle is no. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it was really, I mean, if I'm gonna I have conversation where I have spoken to the men, to the leader on several occasions about a lot of things. So there's nothing I cannot say, because conversations I've had with him, to an extent now where he blocked me. He blocked me, you know what I'm saying? So now he blocked me because I kept asking questions, and he's feeling that I'm being disrespectful. Why? To me, it's a matter, I'm here because you brought me here. You gave me hope. So I want to know what is going on, you know. But to a certain extent, he feels like he don't owe anybody anything. So that is my thing. That is why I want to say to what I'm saying today is that hope to me, what it was a challenge. It was my daughter. She ended up failing a major. Then next first, she didn't get that bursary. Of course, when you fail your major, the bursary automatically fall away. Now you cannot go back to study because you now don't have money. You know what I'm saying? So it's dear mekaar. So now I spoke to her the other day. You must now go back to school. What are you going to do now? Because you must finish your studies. So that's why I'm saying even today we are paying. We are paying, you know, we are still in this process. We are still
Yeah.
struggling. So for the people that is still there, we're not sitting here because we want to make anybody feel. That's not a matter of us wanting to look or to shine or anything for that matter. This is us saying this thing is real. We saying we understand, we were there, we understand the pros and we understand the cons. We saying
Mm.
understand the following. This situation is real. And today we sitting here
Mm.
and pleading and saying, okay, fine, we understand where you at, but we saying, please, man, just listen to
Mm.
us because we don't want a year from now, you're going to sit at the exact same place where we are today. But what we will say though is even if you do come out, we will still be here to embrace you and to love you and to show you
Yeah.
that we're still
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's difficult. It's difficult, Donovan. I can tell
Yeah.
you it's a challenge.
Yeah, I can only imagine. And if you just tuned us, welcome back to Cape Flat Stories. Stan, Uncle Stan, your uncle is in the background. He is here tonight with us. But we are talking to some of the victims that fell prey to a guy called Apostles. What's his name? I forgot his name. Stanford, Apostle Stanford, from the AFM Church. And I'm going to bring Lindsay in because I think Miriam alluded to a few things that I wanted to say on this platform, that everything of this man, everything of this sort of so-called ministry points in one direction, and that is a cult. If you get to a point where you can't do something, and if you look at most of the cults and how cults operate, it is always where there's a leader right on top, and he controls much of everything. He controls the decision making. He controls what goes out, what comes in, who says what, who says the other things as well. And that's a cult. A cult is operated that like that, and so we have to call it what it is. Unfortunately, we have to call it what it is. You might think of us as bashing the church, or you might think of us of saying something bad about the church, but we're not. We're actually just calling it what it is. It's a cult. And so if you need to get to that point of realizing what you're dealing with, I think you can actually then try and ask yourself, how do I get out of this? Because a lot of people are commenting on this particular broadcast now, and saying that they wanted to actually be there to expose this guy. So Lindsay, I mean, how do you fit into all of this? What is your story? Because I think it would be interesting to hear from your side, what has been happening.
Lindsay has just left again. I think he's got connection problems there. I think, but I just want to say this is a cult, and there is many churches like this on the Cape
Yes.
Flats. The
Yes.
Cape Flats has become a breeding ground for churches like this. You can go wherever, and the nice thing about this, and that has been my observation over the years. These men, they click together. You always
Yeah.
see them together. They walk around with bodyguards. They walk around driving the best cars. You don't see them going to Woolworths or wherever to go buy a T-shirt. You will find them there in the waterfront, Louis
Yeah.
Vuitton, those places, Fabiani. That's where they go and shopping. Then people like Maryam, Nicola, and those people are the ones making the money so that they can live this lavish lifestyle.
Mm.
And what they also do is the following.
Yeah.
They keep you
Yeah.
away from your family. That's the biggest problem I have. They keep you away from your family so that you can't speak out. You have to make an appointment. And I think that is what I heard from Mariam now
Yeah.
as well as from the other ladies as well.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the problem
Yeah.
is in our community, en ek gaan dit baie stryd sê, sodra daar 'n man kom met 'n accent of met 'n kwykkar of met 'n connection en hy sê hy's 'n leier, jump ons se mense in en ons gaan saam.
Sure.
We
Sure.
need to
Sure.
start looking at these things differently. We need to start and discerning these people. We mustn't be so gullible that these guys take over. I mean, I was in Canada. They're struggling there, but I can point out to you
Mm.
who is busy with the cult there. Because I know the man. This hasn't been going on for the last 5, 6, 10 years. It has been going on for a very long time. Before
Yeah.
Facebook, before YouTube. In the
Yeah.
90s, let me tell you this, in the 90s, I knew a man, and some of you, I'm not going to mention names. He's long gone. I don't know if he's dead, but I don't know where he is. So he had the church, And the church operated, where they have, he's the senior bishop. There's people under him, and this man, he manipulated the people so that he would sleep with the other pastors and deacons and elders' wives, and those men would keep quiet about this because he has manipulated them so, indoctrinated them so over the years that they believe that he is higher than them. And then when they have a meeting, this woman will sit in front, with him. The other man's wife will sit in front and they will make decisions, while the men will sit in the opposite. And that is the type of things that it's been going on for many years, and so we should speak about it. I see there's another person there by Elder George, maybe that want to come on quickly.
Yes, definitely. Let's get him on there. Maybe he should introduce himself as well, Stan.
Okay.
Hi, good evening. My name is Wesley Moodley.
Hey Wesley, so tell us about tell us how you involved and sort of your story as well. I mean, and where you fit into it as well.
Yeah, it's actually quite interesting. I served at this ministry for close to eight to 10 years, and like the previous speakers have alluded, it was actually quite nice in the beginning. And as you know, when something begins, there's a reason why it attracts you. Okay, so it had all the qualities one was looking for. Coming from a smaller ministry, we were looking for a place to go to. But as years went by, you get to see things, and the deeper you look into things, the more you do introspection and so forth. You're able to see outside of the box, and you're able to see things from for what it is. But what I want to touch on is just we've got a lot of naysayers out there, and we've got a lot of disbelievers out there. So when we started raising our voices, a lot of people were saying, but how can we do this, and how can we say this, and these are all bunch of crazy people. Yeah, but that's how it is. But I just want to touch on a few things regarding a cult. Okay, so my encouragement is for those out there listening, and you caught up in this, but this is not what I'm saying. This is what the experts are saying. So we do have experts in the field, and we can go look it up, and we can go and research it. But I just want to touch on a few things because this is things we can relate to. Number one, in a cult, they oppose critical thinking. So the moment you become a critical thinker, you're no longer in the good books. So the moment you start thinking, you start questioning, you start asking things, you're no longer in the good books. So if you see that, run. They start isolating members and penalize them for leaving. So you get isolated. So no matter how good you were while you're in the cult, how much you gave while you're in the cult, the moment you leave, you're no longer relevant. You're forgotten. You're blocked. You no longer existed. If you see that, run.
Yeah.
Dishonoring the family unit. That's a big one. But listen to this. Group members must cut ties with their families. Most cults require their followers to cut contact with their family members and friends, unless, of course, those family members are already part of the group. If they're part of the group, it's fine, because you're in it. But if they're out of the group, they will not allow you to meet with them, or to see them, or to engage with them. In addition to cutting contact with outsiders, group members may have to make drastic changes to their lives. This might include radically altering their personal goals, which many of our youngsters did, because they left college, they left their visions, they left their dreams, they gave up their hopes, their aspirations. So if you see that, run. Crossing biblical boundaries of behavior, which we've all seen. So there's a lot of biblical aspects, or that were overridden. So it's no longer relevant to where we were.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
This includes scriptures and holy texts and so forth and so on. They emphasize on special doctrine outside of scripture. In other words, they bring in own doctrine to justify what he's doing, to justify what is happening. So it will no longer be scripture, but it will be doctrine. Okay, doctrine is man-made. So, but I'll get into that soon. Separation from the church. Members must seek permission before engaging in certain activities. If you see that, run. In addition to seeking permission, members must abide by the guidelines set forth by the leaders. So if you do not abide by the guidelines set forth by your leaders, you're in trouble. And if you're in trouble, you'll have to bear the brunt of it. In other words, they will dictate what your punishment is. And failure to do so, you'll be punished above punishment. So that's double punishment. Essentially, this means that the group and its leader consider themselves to be the cream of the crop. Yeah. So this is now we're talking that this group is believing to be an altruist. So an altruist is where you believe that you are the cream of the crop. In other words, there's no other people better than you.
Yeah.
Their belief system, what they think, there's nothing else better than what we believe. And we can testify to that. If you see that, run.
Yeah.
The leader is not accountable to no authorities.
Yeah.
He's not accountable, so you can't hold him accountable.
Yeah.
Seeking inappropriate loyalty to your leader. The preoccupation with money. No matter how much money a cow brings in, it's never considered enough. Often cult leaders will make increasingly and more desperate demands for members to turn over money, perhaps even promising that they'll eventually get their money back, but they won't. In other words, your cult leaders, like in this instance, people were told to sell their houses. And to do what? To come and stay at the church. To do what? So that you won't have time or energy or effort to even spend the money. But we're going to put you on a guilt trip. We're going to put you on a guilt trip so that you can invest your money with us, because we are the best. Only we are going to a predetermined place. Only us. No one else. It's us four, and there's no more. If you see that, run.
So Wesley, let me just come in, Wesley, because I think you're laying a very, very good foundation on really what a cult looks like, and I love it. I absolutely love it. I think everyone in the comments is also agreeing with you there. So let's maybe I should bring Lindsay in now, because I see he's ready. So Lindsay, Wesley is laying this foundation here of what a cult looks like. I mean, I'm listening to him and I'm like, this is exactly this church and a few hundred as well that I know of in Cape Town. Your experience of this particular man, I'm not going to call him he's a leader. I mean, a leader can be a bad and a good leader. So he's definitely a leader. Your experience of this man, does it fit exactly what Wesley is laying the foundation for you now? Or is it actually different?
I think I can confirm everything that he has said, expanding on what a cult is and the characteristics of a cult. I think he's like spot on with everything that he has said, because especially I think I can relate more with that, with the point of where we felt, or where he made us feel like we are the cream of the crop, like we are like the it people, there's no better people than us, and so that kind of closed you to any other teacher or preacher, and he also made you not to want to go visit other churches or fellowship with other Christians. We only had to just be in our community of the AFC. So I totally agree with what Deacon Wesley is saying there, while I was laying the foundation.
And your experience, I mean, what has your experience been? I mean, talk to us about what you've been experiencing.
I think my experience. So I'm from Menenberg. So I came over with Pastor May in, I think, 2008, 2009. I think 2008. And so we were in Menenberg. So when they decided they're gonna go over to join AFC, and then we all moved. We all went over with the pastor. And so they told us that we're gonna grow spiritually. This is gonna be an opportunity for you to be able to be elevated in your faith and to have a closer walk with God. We were excited. No, in even in that time when we were in Menenberg, we already trained by Elder George and Sister Joy about ministry and stuff. So we were excited because now we're gonna be elevated to another level of doing ministry. So we went and we were doing our thing there. And then eventually things started to progress. And then there was like a brick factory. A pastor was saying that we're gonna have our own houses and stuff, and we were excited, because we come from impoverished backgrounds, and anything that's gonna give us hope, we're gonna believe it. And so, for me, I was more involved in the maintenance and construction side of things, and so we had a block factory in Menenberg, and so we used to go there and grind. Uh, yeah, like so we used to wake up early up in the morning. I think around about that time when I was working at the block factory, the cookie sale was just starting. So in the mornings they would come and fetch us. Then we would go to the train stations, and then we would try and sell, the biscuits and stuff. And then we would come back and we would pray, and then we would have something to eat. No, I don't think that. But around about that time, there was no structure in like having breakfast and stuff. If there was a breakfast, you would be lucky that day. So we would come from the church in LCD. We would come back to Menenberg and start doing the blocks, work up our behinds over there, and then we would wait for lunch. And sometimes we would call because now it's already 12 o'clock and the lunch didn't come yet. And so we would work, and then sometimes the lunch didn't come, and it's already 5 o'clock. And then we would drive to drive back to the church and stuff, and then they would give our food. And then I think the church, yeah. But I'm just fast forwarding now. I think when the church purchased a piece of land in Atlantis, and then Apostle said that we can have our own motel, and then we started working. And I think that was like a very, very traumatic experience for me, because we were doing like heavy construction work. We didn't have the proper PPE, like we didn't have proper boots. We were mixing the dugout with no gloves. We had no hard hats. We had no glasses. Like nothing that a person that is doing construction is doing. We didn't have none of that stuff. And so, and he was working, as I remember this one time, and I think I'll always remember this. So whenever I say about my experience there, I will always say this one. I remember this one day, it was on the Thursday. I'll never forget this day. They came visit at houses. We went to Alcy's to the church. We had our breakfast, and then we drove with the vans to Atlantis. And then we worked. When we arrived at Atlantis, we worked. And then I think construction stopped because the mixing machine that we were using was also very problematic. And then I think, yeah, we stopped working until about 5. And so when Elder came, they fixed the machine. So from 6 o'clock, we worked, from 6 p.m. to about half past 12 the Friday morning. We were working. And so we left Atlantis around about 1 a.m. in the morning hours, and then we came back home. And if you want to ask me how my body felt, my body was aching, my bones was burning, and it was just very crazy. And so we kept on going to the land, but the, everything that the apostle said, no, like it never worked. It never worked out. We still waiting to see the hotel and the motel. So that's just kind of my experience. And then also I was a worship leader at the church too. And I remember many a times I would be working in Atlantis, and then on a Wednesday we would have service, and then I would come straight from Atlantis straight into the service to lead. Then I would lead a service, and most of the stuff that I did there, I didn't get any stipend like the other people would get. Sometimes Elder George, would bless me with some monies, but Apostle never, or the church never gave me money
Yeah.
for my contribution to the whole situation.
Yeah. I mean, it's just very, very sad to hear. And I think, we don't have a lot of time left. I think we've got about 4 minutes left. Stan, if I may, just one more question. I think I want to get I think his name is Mikael. He's sitting in the middle there. I think get him in to really just chat to us about, like, why how, why should people or young people that's watching this, or perhaps even people as well, like, how can they get out? How come he's out, but they are still young people trapped in? Because I think that's where it flourishes a lot. It's just the realization of not knowing how bad this is. When you're in a cult, you don't know how bad it really is. You don't know that it's wrong to think. And I think Wesley has laid that amazing foundation. When Wesley laid those points down, I thought of North Korea's president, or supreme leader, like they call him, Kim Jong Un. Of how just he controls everything. He controls what you wear, what you eat, your religion, all of that. I mean, they've even changed the Bible in North Korea to say Kim Jong Un, who was his father, gave birth to a son, Kim Jong Un. And he's now sort of brought us salvation. So Mikael, chat to us about just how you came to your senses, and how you can get out of this if you are still in this, because I think it's important that people know this.
Okay, firstly, I would say the way apostle, or I don't even know if I can call him that, but yeah. The first thing he does to catch a young person's attention is probably, like, they would have this thing where they have a youth, and then it'll just be about spirituality at first, but then the business ideas come, and then everything. So that's how they attract you. And then you speak to your parents, you would like tell your parents that, yeah, that's the best for you, and you need to come stay at church and all of that stuff. And that's just very sad. And I don't know how he convinced my mother, but yeah, I just said that I was a victim, and I wouldn't recommend any young man or any young person to go there, because me and my sister, like, we being victims, this is my sister Mikael, and like, we've had a bad, like, very bad experience. And it's just very sad. Like, up until this day, like, our mother, like, she's into this thing, she's undisclosed, like, yes, like, brainwashed her, like, she's totally, like, against our family and against everything. And
So
even
basically,
like, it's just
so
crazy.
basically, I am Mikael. Um, we stayed at the church with my mommy. She moved there when she was going through a divorce. So my mommy's been a part of this ministry basically for 15 years.
16.
And we stayed 16, 15. We stayed with my mommy. We had to move with my mommy to the church. But when we were there, she couldn't be a mother to us because we were basically handed over to the leadership church. When we were going through stuff that normal teenagers go through, we couldn't speak to her because we were basically told you're not allowed in your mother's room. There was a time we couldn't speak to my mommy or even go into her room, but we were in the same building. And for me, I couldn't understand why we could not speak to my mother, because my daddy was already not in our lives, and the only person that my only parent I had left, we couldn't have a relationship with her. So for me and my brother, it was really like, I am today, I am a very stubborn person because I just felt like you literally brought me here and you made me trust a male person again, because remember my daddy left and me trusting any guy, it was, I couldn't do it. So he literally, Apostle worked with me, he made me gain his trust, and he put me out of the church when we were staying in a house, and he asked me to move out of my room because I made 100 rand. Sales was very bad that month of December, and he asked me, "What is your plans for this year?" Because I made 100 rand, and I wasn't producing as I was before. And I told him that I think I want to study because I was busy with my studies before I left there. And he said then, okay, you can go. Then you need to then move out. And he wanted to move me into a room with my mother, and I told him I'm not gonna do that. I am not gonna do that. I'm going to my granny and I'm gonna ask her, can I live there? Because this isn't working out for me. I can't be here making money every single day. We made like up to 1,000 rand a day sometimes, and nothing is happening. We're not getting the houses that was promised to us. We're not getting no salary after we worked for 7 years basically making money every single day. We brought in a lot of money and nobody got paid the salaries that was promised to the people. So he had a live service on Facebook, and he basically called us lying demons, and he was saying that we want money from the church and all of that. And I felt very offended, and I texted him about it, and we had a conversation, and he blocked me afterwards. He blocked me on WhatsApp because I wanted to know how is it that he's doing all of these crazy things to people. You speak curses over us when we want to leave, when we want to go out there and make and build a life for ourselves. You want to speak down on us. Why not bless? Why not give us a blessing? Why not say that yes, go out and go work hard, and because I know for a fact my house is not gonna fall out of the sky. I need to work to save money and buy myself a house. But yet we were sold all these dreams and promises, but nothing came. We were waiting all these years, working hard, giving 100% every day, but nothing. And we're not here for the money. We are just here because we want to prevent the next generation from falling into the trap. I went on Facebook 2 weeks ago and I posted about what happened to us basically. And every single person that was a part of this ministry working full time came and they shared this story on my post. Everybody in the comment section was commenting saying, but this is what happened to me. We had members from the church from America, Chicago, even those people, they were starting to speak up and say, but this happened to me. This is what I gave up. This is what Apostle said to me. This is the curses that were spoken over me. So I really feel like this is something that we need to take a stand, and we need to put an end to this, because at the end of the day he's not just doing it to us in South Africa, but he's doing it to his own people that is in America. And he's I don't know. We are traumatized. We are mentally. We don't even sleep. The people that used to work at the church that decided to leave the working part section, whatever, working full time, the full time ministry. Everybody that left, we would literally reach out to each other, and we would be like, yo, I'm still up, I can't sleep because I'm thinking about this. I'm thinking about what the apostle said to me. I'm thinking about my experience I had. There's some of us that's having nightmares. We can't even sleep because of what we suffered through these years. And I just feel like there's pastors that is even commenting on Facebook saying, we lying, we want money, we doing this to gain something from the church. And we literally have to fight them and help them and shut them up, because we don't want anything. We want our people to be free. I want my mommy to get out of there, and I want my mommy to be free, because he is really brainwashing the people, and he still has people that he's covering up for him, and he's done all of those things to us as a youth. He took our youth away from us, and we are basically struggling to build ourselves because we were believing his word when he said we're gonna be in a better position than most of our families. That's really not right what he's doing.
Yeah. Thank
Donovan,
you.
so
Yes.
that very same man, like when I totally I came out, I left everything. Like I had to wonder, like if I walk away now, am I gonna lose my mother for good or anything? Because that very man told my mother that you can't speak to your son for a season. And it was 1 year and 6 months, I remember. She didn't communicate, nothing.
Sure. It's really sad. It's really bad, and I think it's you hear these things and you stand, you think, is this America? Is this Taiwan? How can this be? Our beloved Cape Town, our beloved Cape Flats, and it's here. It's here, and I think we. I see another hand there. Stan, just let us know how many minutes we have left, because I know we've run far over time. But Wesley,
Yeah.
I'll give it over to you quickly.
Yeah, Wesley, we have
thank
some
you.
minutes.
Thank you, guys, and thank you for the platform and the opportunity to share. It's just a disclaimer. We're not going against the church. Let the reader, let the viewers know that we're not going up against the church. We're going up against a system. We're going up against a Babylonian system. We're going up against a system that's raping and robbing us and depriving our youth, depriving our people, and denying, violating our human rights. That's what we're going up against. But let me just add 3 more points, and I'll be out. I'll keep quiet. So one of the things, another cult, what the cult requires, and remember, these are things that researchers are saying, not us. We were just enlightened. Right? We received the revelation, and that's why we consider ourselves blessed. But listen to this. None of these things, or all of these things that I just mentioned, we can relate to. We can relate to. So we're not sucking things out of our thumbs, But listen to this. One of the things that a cult requires is a huge time commitment. In other words, it's going to suck up, if not all of your time. Members of a cult are expected to devote inordinate amounts of time to the group. This can include jobs or missions for the group, or participating in other group-related activities, and so forth and so forth. But one of the things, friends and family members of a cult, assuming ties to them have already been cut, will notice and often comment on the fact that they never seem to see their loved ones anymore. How many times have we heard that? If you see that, run. A requirement to socialize with fellow members only. So you find yourself socializing only with fellow members, nobody else. This could simply mean that they don't engage with outsiders in their everyday life. So you go to church, or you go to that, you come back home. You're so tired, you don't even want to go to the shop. You don't visit family because you're tired, you're drained. The very life, we're not speaking about because we read it somewhere or what. These are life experiences. So there is nothing worth pursuing. And here's a big one. There's nothing worth more pursuing except than the group's own goals and objectives. So nothing else in the whole world is worth more than that. In a cult, the most devoted members are firmly convinced that there's no life outside the context of the group. Every decision they make, every thought they have is focused on what is best for the group and for its leader. Here's another thing. Fear and dread. Fear and dread is drilled into you. So you're indoctrinated that if you're going to leave, you're going to die. You're indoctrinated that if you leave this, there's nothing better. There's nothing better. So the grass it's not just the grass is not greener. There's no grass on the other side. That's what we are told. That's what we believe. And it's drilled into us that if you walk away from this, You will never find a better man than me. You will never find a better leader than me. That I am the sent one.
Yeah.
I am the one whom God has sent for you. You are the Son of God. You are this and you are that. Those are the things that we have documented. It's on tapes because we have DVDs recorded. It's not something we
Yeah.
said, but we believed it.
Yeah.
But the mere fact that we didn't want to walk away is because we feared we were going to die. Look at some of those people that walked away. We're doing way much more better than those that are there.
Mm.
I don't want to tell you what we do, what I'm doing here, because that's, like some of us said, and it's an inside joke that doesn't even mean anything. It's an inside joke, but it doesn't really mean a lot to say what we're doing now. But what I can say is that once you set free, from these demonic devices, your life will become better. A lot of us share the same testimony that the grass is actually green on the other side. We're blessed and we are highly favored. But once again, a disclaimer: we're not coming up against the church or any institution. We're coming up against a cult. We're coming up against that demonic influence spirit that has bound our people, not the church. So we're not coming up against the church. We're coming up against that cult that we believed in and we bought into. So thank you so much.
Awesome.
God bless.
Awesome, Wesley. Awesome. Thank you so much. And Flat Story, I know it's been late. I'm going to give over to your uncle now. Once again, thank you so much for staying with us and for helping us to share the story. I really want to encourage you guys to share this part of this post to make sure that more people see it, and so that we can expose this again. Like I said in the beginning, this is not us coming up against the church. This is not us just choosing a particular pastor and just shooting at him. It's really coming from a place of love and care for our people, and knowing that there are so many more churches out there. Stan and I speak daily about this, where pastors take for granted our people, and it's not biblical, and we have to call them out, and we're doing so tonight. So please continue to share this post, and make sure that much more people know about this. But Stan, over to you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Donnie. Everybody that joined us tonight. Donnie, we always speak about this, we always talk about the gangsterism and the drugs on the Cape that's keeping our people hostage. But here is evidence that there is cults in our communities. These cults has been breeding in our communities for many years. And we need to highlight this as well, because we're not moving forward. We don't see any difference in our community. Our communities and our peoples are just going back in life, and there's no one is going forward. And the only people that is benefiting from this cult is the men that are running this cult. And we need to talk about this. And I know it's not a popular topic, like I always say, but we need to question the motives of these men to come from the USA to exploit already people on the Cape Flats that has been through so much. You guys had dreams. You guys wanted to do something with your life, and here this guy comes and he tells you, give you up your job, do this, do that, keeping you away. He caused more damage to many of your people that is here, and there are others as well. Some of you now are sitting with problems where you can't find jobs, where you have a relationship problem with your family, with your mothers and your fathers, and you can't speak to them. And if you look at the damage that this man has caused, it is despicable, and we need to speak about this. And I do hope that if there's people out there that can help this people here, please do so, because we're gonna need counselors. We are gonna need people to counsel. You already heard from the young lady; she can't sleep at night. That is already a thing that we need to look at, because this will carry over to the next generation. So we always talk about bettering our communities and things like that, but we need to also help our people. So I want to say thank you to everybody. Please share this live stream. We will talk more about this. And please, if you need the number of the people, give me a message, send me an email to info@capeflatstories.co.za. Let's see what is the legal side that we can take on here. Let's close these types of organizations clean. what these churches are doing, and I mentioned this to you, Donnie, and we heard about it. This guy even went so far as to establish his own political party. And these people had to work for him, to canvass for him. And that is a story for another day. So we need to talk about this because, like I said, the church is being used, and not used, but it's being abused for the purpose of men that wants to promote themselves. So thank you very much, everybody. Pastor George, Wesley, everybody else, Maryam, Lindsay, thank you for joining us. It's much appreciated. And Tony. Okay, there we go. I'm back. Sorry. So we're gonna greet now. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you for joining us. And I will definitely be in contact with you guys again, and then we can see how we can maybe get some more exposure out there. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for there was a lot of viewers tonight, and thank you for commenting. Thank you for your support to the people. It's much appreciated. You know, it's no use I'm going to talk about the gangsterism on the Cape Flats, but yet we have other gangsters in the church as well. And I'm not saying all of them, all the men of God are gangsters. There's some good men out there. My father-in-law was one of those pastors that did very well, and there is more of them out there that's really for the community. So thank you so much for joining us, and please share this live. You guys can go look on our YouTube channel as well. Please subscribe. There's more coming. There's more topics coming on this, and people in talking about what's currently happening, not only in the church but in other sectors as well. Ladies and gentlemen, have a lovely evening. I know it's late. Take care of yourself. En kyk, jy moet dit mense vir jou vir 'n pop vat, né? Lekker aan.